All right, welcome to the Conscious Growing Gardener channel, right? Today we're going to talk about the consciousness of growing, right? What's the intent behind growing, right? Now, we don't, we all know that recently we've been dealing with a lot of food shortages and things of that nature, right? So, some people have started gardening on need, right? They're thinking about the future. They're thinking about the present, right? And so, as a gardener, you know what I'm saying, you have a certain amount of consciousness to you that make you go out there and grow, make you have intent on why growing. So let's talk about consciousness. Let's get the definition of consciousness now first, okay? The consciousness is the awareness of or a perception, okay, of something by a person, right? The fact of awareness by the mind of itself and the world. Okay, so what's going on in the world, so it will give you your consciousness, what you see, what you're aware of, right? So this is why a lot of times uh, the level of gardening and it's becoming a fad is starting to pick up, right? So since the first nationwide lockdown, to cope with the threat of this demic, right? Among the many unexpected outcomes of the lockdowns was the sudden surge of at-home gardening, right? Uh, and vegetable growing, right? In Britain alone, I'll use Britain, even though I'm not a British, I believe Britain. Gr- uh, growing, vegetable growing has jumped 42%. Okay, um, why should you choose to grow organic? Okay, uh, using organic fertilizers promotes health, right? Actually, going organic is the invertebrates, which in turn attract more birds and wildlife, such as hedgehogs, which naturally act as a pest control. Okay, so when you grow natural organic stuff, you're going to have wildlife around it. Okay, because you're not using pesticides and crop dusting and stuff like that to keep the animals away. So you're gonna if you have deer in your neighborhood, they're going to come around. If you have birds in your neighborhood, they're going to come around. If you have of course you have birds in your neighborhood. I'm just saying if you have deer in your neighborhood, if you have rabbits in your neighborhood, they're going to come around. Squirrels will come around. Okay, so the thing of it is, what we do is not only do we keep a greenhouse, right, every year, we also manage to put a fence around the yard. Now this year we're thinking of doing a little more hands-on because of the animals getting so aggressive with trying to eat it of our stuff. Sometimes what we'll do is we'll put I got some wild lettuce, I got some carrots and stuff that I put uh, outside of the fence that I don't mind them partaking in, right? And uh, and then we'll put a little electric fence around my garden area so that they won't be able to get directly into it. Also, I like to use stuff like they sell a bottle or spray, comes in different forms. It's called Repels All. I'm sure they have different kind of ones. I'm not promoting this particular brand. Excuse me. It's just I just happen to use this one, so I like it, so I use it all the time. Um, we do stuff like we grow garlic and onions in certain places around the garden to detract the animals from there, as well as Irish Spring soap. We cut it up in little pieces. Okay, cut it up in little pieces and put it around the garden, right? I put garlic. I hang garlic bulbs when I grow, because I grow corn too. So I'll hang garlic bulbs, pieces of garlic all around the corn, because if I don't, the squirrels will just go in and eat it up. They'll go and they'll step right out there, because you have to. I usually put it on the back of my fence where I grow my last year I grew corn and I grew sunflower. So one stalk of corn, one sunflower, one stalk of corn, one sunflower, and they're all in the back of my fence. So what happens is, after the corn starts coming in, the squirrels will just go back there and start shucking the corn themselves and think they can eat it. So once I started putting garlic and hanging Irish Spring soap around the garden, you can smell it. It smells like it smells manly. That deterred a lot of them from coming around. So you have to do little things to keep them out. But you want some wildlife, right? Um, the reason why I say wildlife is because you want the balance of the ecosystem. Like sometimes the deer come and they eat. Like I don't cut the grass in the backyard. Like I'll cut my front to to abide by the the city's ordinances. but my back I don't cut as often. I usually let my back just grow. I might have cut it twice a year, maybe, right? And that way it's longer grass, right? And but I pay attention to it so that it won't, so that the wild uh, anything that grows in there wild that's not in my garden, I can pluck it out so it won't, root itself in and take over or whatever. This year we're gonna do a rock garden, so we're gonna have a lot of flowers out there in an area. I set up for a rock garden. You guys will see it'll be beautiful. Right now, I wish I could take you out there now, but it's nothing but snow out there, right? We had some more snow fall more than again. I do live in Ohio, so shout out to the Bengals, right? Even though I'm in Cleveland, shout out to them. We're only 4 hours away from getting to the Super Bowl, right? Whatever. Maybe next year you guys won't be there, and maybe we will, right? Who knows? Anyway, back to gardening. What else are some other things that I want to say? You should make your own compost. Okay, provides excellent nutrition for your garden. It helps get rid of waste. Okay, do you know in America we waste 30% of our food is wasted? In fact, globally, all over the world, globally, and composting provides that return on unavoidable waste. Okay, that helps with the ecosystem. An ecosystem is a biological community of interacting organisms and their physical environment. Okay, so that means you got different insects and like you got all kind of I couldn't even name the amount of insects that could be in your garden that eat on certain things or whatever, right? But we have to be careful because we know certain insects we do not want in our garden, right? What are those? We don't want aphids. We don't want what call stink bugs, right? We don't want those. There's just certain bugs that we don't want in our garden. So what I like to do is every year I use a little dimatrix earth. Okay, it's natural. It's not pesticide or anything like. It's natural. It's not going to kill you. And so I put it around my plants and things of that nature. Some baking soda sometimes will dry out slugs, and so is uh, so does the dimatrix earth. It keeps away star of the little starfish, the little roly polies, right? I mean, all of the beetles and the bugs, all those bugs that will eat up your foliage, right? And sometimes even get directly into your and or right into the hole of your plant and get down there and eat it from the inside out. So you have to be very careful with insects in your garden, but you don't want to over uh, uh, pollute your garden with trying to keep certain insects out. That way you chase them all away because you want a certain amount of ants. You want some spiders in there to eat up other insects as well. You want the bees. You want the pollinators in your garden. You want the pollinators, the ones that's gonna go from one flower to the other, pollinating your plants. Okay. Uh, One of the things we like to do to make the flowers bloom really well is use some bone meal. Okay. I think you should fertilize your plants. Every plant's different, right? But you have to. Some people just like to see what grows and not fertilize them. But I believe that you need to fertilize your plants. I like to make liquid fertilizer and put it directly into my soil. But every 15 to 20 days, I will get out there and I'll fertilize. As well as of course we test the soil, touch it, make sure that the pH balance is right. Sometimes you might want to add some potassium so you keep the banana peels right. Sometimes you want to get some nitrogen, so you companion garden. Sometimes we do. We use beans because beans release nitrogen, right? As well as we use coffee grounds to not only help fill up the beds that we have. We have a little raised beds around out in our garden, but as well as it also adds a certain amount of nitrogen, okay, and really helps the plants grow really healthy and beautiful. So. Um, Gardening incredibly rewarding, okay, and by doing it so consciously, we all get the opportunity to make our gardens as co-friendly, right, as eco-friendly and safe as possible. In return, we gain a space that is nurturing to the body and the mind. Okay, so when you think about gardening, it doesn't have to necessarily just be because we're in a pandemic, that food shortages are here, and that inflation is skyrocketing. You know, it could be simply because you want to give back to the environment. You want to have a hobby. Um, you want to grow organic food, fruits and vegetables yourself. You want your family to eat a better lifestyle, right? That's a very important reasoning for doing what we do, right? And so as we start to grow these things, right, whatever it is, let's look at some of the things that we can grow. This is cooler right now, right? It's a cooler time. Let's look at a few plants that you can grow. Uh, Here's one right here. We're gonna I'll pull them out. Microgreens. They sprout and grassy and increasingly popular as they are easy to grow, easy to harvest, easy to prepare, delicious to eat, and high in nutrition. Okay, days to germinate 2 to 5 days. Okay, the depth you need to sow is 1/8 of an inch. Okay, seed spacing is 1/4 of an inch. Growing height is one half of an inch, and days to harvest 5 to 10 days. Okay, 5 to 10 days you can have these. Okay, microgreens. Okay, most folks don't know a lot about microgreens, but they're very cold climate plants, and as long as there's no frost out there, they can handle it, right? So once the frost date ends in your neighborhood, or if you don't have a frost date, if you don't have any frost at all, right, you can go out there now and grow some microgreens. Okay, uh, another plant that we like to grow in the cooler plants, uh, the red velvet lettuce. Okay, so you can sow this in an average soil in full sun. Okay, you want to sow it in full sun. It takes about 55 days to harvest. The depth of 1/4 of an inch. Okay, you want to thin it to 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and you want to you want to sow this in full sun. So you want to make sure there's a lot of sun around with you. Early spring for first crop, in late summer for fall crop. Sow thinly in rows of 12 inches apart, and cover with 1/4 of fine soil. Okay, with just 1/4. Okay, inch of fine soil. Firm lightly and keep evenly moist. Seedlings emerge in 7 to 10 days. So every 2 weeks to extend the harvest. Okay, when that red velvet lettuce. We never had any of that. That's beautiful. That is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Right? I'm gonna have to go through some of these so I can find the ones I want to talk about. Give me a second, guys. I don't want to pick on anything that's too warm climate right now. I want to talk about only the cold things. And the funny thing is, I thought I had them all together, but I forgot. I forgot we went through these, and we moved a few rounds, so I need to go back through them again in order to show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, here we go. Here we go, right here. Here we go. Here we go. Cold climate plants. Just a few cold climate plants, those guys we can tell you about that are really uh, delicious, nutritious, right? And like I said, if you're really in the need of something quick, right? We some of us are in different positions. We live in different zones. We live in different states, and so we need different things, right? Certain plants can grow in certain times, depending on what your weather is, what your zone is. I live in zone 6, so you have to find out what zone you live in. Okay, you can easily look it up and find out where you live at, right? I mean, you know what you live at, but I'm just talking about what zone you live in and the type of weather that you have, so you can cultivate your garden with the weather that you have there. You don't want to put something that's a cold climate plant uh, in the mid of summer, right? You know, when you got 80 and 90-degree weather, you want to grow stuff like okra and tomatoes and corn and zucchini and squash and cucumbers and things of that nature. Those grow really well in warmer climate plants. You don't want to try to grow lettuce and uh, and uh, and spinach and greens and stuff like that in that type of weather, because that type of weather will only make those plants bolt. They'll flower. They'll go to seed. Okay, they won't give you the foliage that you want in the greens and the lettuce that you want. They're gonna definitely fold up in that kind of weather. So I went through and I found a few more. So here we go. Prize head lettuce. Okay, prize head lettuce. The early superior quality, large heads of deeply curled, vitamin-rich green leaves, edged in bronze. It has a buttery flavor. Okay, uh, Days to germinate, 7 to 10 days for the seed to germinate. Okay, you should sow it in a depth of 1/4 of an inch. Okay, planting spaces in rows in row of 12 inch. Uh, plant 4 to 10 inches apart, and days to harvest takes 45 days. Okay, lettuce is a cool season crop. Sow directly into the garden as early in the spring as possible. Okay, and then you can seed it again in the late summer for a fall harvest. Okay, so once again, some more different type of lettuce, right? We have that. Oh, that's all different types of lettuce. We'll be all day, right? So let's go here again. Since we're doing the lettuce, let's go to the gourmet blend. Okay, the gourmet blend, and and it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. I can read this same back of this thing again because they have every seed pack has its own directions about when to grow and when it, and that's another thing. You can look right here on the United States thing, and you can see what area you live in and what's best for you when to start growing these things. Okay, so make sure. A lot of times people open up packages or people buy stuff and they get ready to do what they ready to do, and they don't want to read the directions. And I know I'm one of those people too. You know, you'll buy something that you got to put together or something, and you don't want to read. You just want to open it up and start getting to work. Sometimes you'd be surprised what you miss just by a little bit of reading, right? So let's make sure that we read some of the packages. So this is the gourmet blend lettuce. Okay, it's another cool climate plant. Okay, that you can grow you know, during those cooler days, right? This is what we want, right? That's what we're looking at. So, uh, pak choi. Okay, this is a very good one. This is I love this. This is actually Toy Choy. This is very we had pak choi. This we had this year. We ate it for the first time I ever ate it. It was very good. I actually made a meal out of it, and you want to sow this in the open ground, well exposed to the soil when the soil is warm. So in the spring, when on those nice spring days, you want to get one in like that, you know. And but this is a leafy style plant that can handle uh cooler temperatures. And you don't want to do this in the middle of the summer, too hot. They'll go to seed as well. So make sure that's why I call this a cooler climate plant as well. It doesn't have as much information on here as the other ones do, but it's definitely from the leaf. So we can go into the greens and things of that nature. I'll be in here all day looking for those, and I don't want to take up too much time looking for seeds that I should have already had put together in the first place. So that is actually my fault, right? But what we can do is we can get into uh, we can definitely get into some of the herbs, right? So basil red Reuben, okay. This should be sold in average soil in full sun after the dangers of frost. So after the frosty days are over with, and there's no more snow coming, then you can sow these. Okay, 6 inches apart. Okay, and cover about 1/4 of the time of soil over it. Okay, firm lightly and keep evenly moist. Okay, just like it's like the other plants. And seedings emerge in about 7 to 14 days. Okay, basil, it's an herb. Okay, this is a red Reuben basil as well. This is very 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 interesting, right? Okay, so the next one I want to look up is some dill. Okay, dill. Okay, it's a versatile traditional herb. Seeds and leaf prized from a pungent aroma, a favorite flavoring for pickles and kraut. Okay, so people pickle they cucumbers with dill. Okay, that's how you get dill pickles. Okay, uh, it takes 7 to 21 days to germinate. The 1/4 of an inch in the depth of the sowing. Seed spacing is 1 inch apart. Row spacing is 2 feet apart. Okay, and its days to harvest takes 65 to 70 days for this to germinate. Okay, and you want to sow it in average soil after dangers of the spring. So of the frost. So once that frost is gone out there, once there's no more snow coming, and you know that day, you can look up the almanac you can look on the almanac and look up your city and find out when the last supposedly um the last um, day of frost is going to be, and then you can get out there with some of these and get to sowing them. Okay. Um, they should be harvested while flower heads are still abundant and green. Cut entire plant and dry, con- contain upside down in a paper bag. Okay, so you can get the deal. So you can turn it. You basically uh, it comes off fresh. You want to cut it when it's fresh and it's still green, and then you want to dry it out. You want to get it to dry out. Okay, and then you got your deal. Okay, and then you can use fresh grown deal. You can pickle your beets. You can put deal in some people put deal in in their casserole. Sometimes they put it in their chicken salad, right? Tuna salad. Some people like dill in there, right? So there you go. Okay, you can use, like I said, dill is what you use to make dill pickles with. Okay, it's an herb. Um, Next we have. We're gonna go with a few more. So I had this in the yard, and this will definitely draw. Uh, this is a summertime crop. Okay, so uh this is not something for the wintertime. This is later on in the summertime, but it is an herb. Okay, so catnip. Okay, cats love to smell and rub leaves. Sow dried leaves into cat toys. It's a perennial. Okay, so outdoors in the full sun after danger of frost. So you can do this after. You can do the same thing. You can put this in after danger of frost is gone. Uh, you can sow from fall to early spring. Okay, in a thin cover of 1/4 fine soil on top of it. Okay, and you could then to stand about 18 inches apart. Okay, it takes about 80 to 90 days for this to grow. Okay, catnip. It's a herb. Um, you want to, like I said, you want to make sure it's in full sun. You want to make sure. Sometimes when you not only is it important for you to grow things where they say put it in shade, then those plants should be put in shade. But those plants that need full sun, you ought to make sure that those are being put in the full sun so that you can get the plant can get what it needs. Okay, whether you started in the house or whether you started outside in your yard or in your greenhouse or in your garden itself, if you straight sow into the soil, straight into seed, from seed to soil, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to just these little tidbit informations on the back of the the packages to get the best available fruit and vegetable or herb, whatever you're growing, out of it. Okay, so pay attention to those things. Those small things will take you a long way when we're talking about growing your own vegetables, right? And so we don't have to worry about it being necessarily just a pandemic, and we are rushing to try to plant, right? We want to plant uh, not just as a need, but also it could be used as a hobby. It could be used as a sanctuary, a place of peace and just growth, right? It could be used as a tool. You know what I'm saying? You now have you become an archaeologist. You know, you continue to grow. You know what I'm saying? You're an agricultural scientist once you get to learn all the different names of the plants, and you can spot them and know what they are. You can look at them and tell what they need. You know, you can see the leaves turning yellow, and you know the roots are being bound, or you need to get rid of those particular leaves because they're sucking the plant. The sugar out of the plant, and you want to keep the sugar in the plant. So sometimes leaves go bad, and it's okay to prune them off. You know, some of us be so scared to touch the plant. You know, what's wrong with it? It's going yellow. It's okay. Sometimes it just those aren't the true leaves, and it's okay. So there's different things. There's different things that you could be dealing with every day in the plant life. And as you continue to learn these small tidbit things, right, from disease plants, from plants that you grow in the right season and you give the right sun to, right, or the right spacing, you will continue to learn how to be a gardener, right? And take it all the way up, right? So one more we're gonna go, y'all. We're gonna look at some parsley. This is an Italian. Okay, this is ideal for containers, okay, because it's probably is very evasive, okay. Um, Living up your taste buds with this old favorite, Flat leaves pack a more flavorful punch than the curly parsleys. Harvest continually during growing season. If limited for gardening space, try a deep window steel container. See a sealed container or 3-gallon container for your herbs. Okay, this takes 18 to 24 days to germinate. Okay, and you want to plant the spacing between 6 to 8 inches. Okay, it's a biennial. Okay, it's a biennial. Okay, uh, that means if it don't come one year, if you plant it, that means the next year you'll have parsley. Okay, parsley does is that means okay, there's annuals which come once a year, and you don't get them back. You get it one time. You get perennial that comes back, and then you got biennial that sometimes you plant it and it takes like 2 years to grow. Like carrots are biennials. Okay, parsley is an herb. We know what parsley is good for, right? You can put it all on. The flavor you can uncommon. You can put it on hamburgers. Let's say all type of parsley is used in all type of chilies and all type of Italian foods and stuff like that, right? Some people put it all over the place, right? You'd be surprised. You see it sometimes. You see it on people's plate as a little garnish, but it's a biennial, so it takes 2 garden seasons to get this, and you want to put it in somewhere like in a container. You don't want to put it into your yard because it gets very invasive. It can grow and take over your whole garden. You don't want that. We learned that from doing mint that one year. We planted mint, and every year I have to get out there and which is not a bad thing actually for us because the animals and certain animals don't like the mint smell, and with it being so strong, they don't come around as often in that area. So I can use it to deter them from. I catch water, I catch rainwater, and so I deter them from getting in my rainwater and getting around certain things. So sometimes you get what you get accidentally, and you never know while you're learning and you're growing out. And actually, that was our first year of gardening back here, so we were still rookies, So continue to grow with us, y'all. Continue to watch us. We're the Conscious Growing Gardeners. We'll be back next time. We'll be back. We'll talk about some more warmer plants, right? We'll talk about maybe how to take care of them, right? And different diseases that might come up during the gardening season, right? Okay, you guys, continue to grow consciously, right? Consciously think about your growing efforts and your learning efforts, okay, of growing. You all the time mostly have some type of computer with you, and there's different videos out there, and there's different ways of learning how to grow, okay? And if you so choose to want to grow with the Conscious Growing Gardeners, please subscribe to the channel, right? Hit that bell so you'll be notified when we upload videos, right? Your subscription will help us to bring other subscribers on to continue to grow the channel so that we'll be able to do lives and things of that nature. So this summer we'll be out in the yard. We better go live in the rock garden and in our regular garden as well as our greenhouse, and we'll be able to show you guys everything, some things from seed to harvest, right? Some things we've already started upstairs in the greenhouse, and we'll be able to bring them out and transfer them into the greenhouse as well, into the garden itself, and we'll show you guys from everything from the insect fights, right, that we're gonna probably be having with certain insects, to the fights that we're probably going to have with the ecosystem balancing between us and the animals that grow. Not that grow, but that circulate around our neighborhood. From the deer to the groundhogs to the rabbits to the birds and squirrels that are actually becoming more aggressive now. You can tell that food shortages are at an all-time high because you can watch the animals. When it comes to certain things, you have to watch the money, right? When you come to politics, right? But when it comes to plant life, watch the animals, and they'll tell you if there's a shortage or if there's plenty. All right, I'm your garden guru, Farmer Tom. We are the Conscious Growing Gardeners. Peace.